Hello! Thank you so much for joining us today for the presentation Arvo Pärt's Songs from Childhood. My name is Jacob Truby, and I am one of two middle school choir teachers at the American School of the Hague. And along with David Jiménez, we are so excited to tell you about how we discovered these delightful children's songs written by Estonian composer Arvo Pärt, as well as tell you how much fun we've had teaching them to kids. We're going to be doing this presentation from a couple of different locations, seeing as Mr. Jiménez and I have pretty unique schedules. We were able to get these songs into the hands of our kids, and we were really happy about that. So you're going to see a couple of recordings of our choirs, a couple of thoughts from us recorded at different locations. And although we are not sponsored by the Arvo Pärt Center in Estonia, we felt that this was an important a batch of songs to share with people at a conference, just like the AMI Summit. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce my terrific colleague, David Jiménez. Take it away, David, from another location.
Hi, my name is David Jiménez, and I am from Spain. I live in the Netherlands, where I work at the American School of the Hague, together with Jacob Truby in the choir department. And it's a pleasure to stay here with you, presenting you this wonderful collection of songs that we discovered from Arvo Pärt.
Thank you, David. So, as we said earlier, we hope that this presentation is more than anything just a story as to how we discovered these songs. It was a little bit of my doing, it was a little bit of David's doing, and we would just like to share with you how we think these songs are great, how they work well in the classroom for a concert, or just simply for singing for the sake of singing. We have found that our kids really look forward to singing these songs at the start. They can be substitutes for warm-ups on occasion, and we just look forward to sharing them with you. We hope you enjoy. Before we dive into the songs, we thought it might be nice just to share a little synopsis, a little biography about Arvo Pärt. Neither David or I claim that we have ample amounts of scholarly research and interviews and history with the composer, but we do think it is important to just kind of shed some light on his backstory, because if you know anything about the composer Arvo Pärt, there is some mysticism around him. There is some curiosity, some wonderment about his music, about the person that is Arvo Pärt. We're going to take a crack at it. We're going to try and tell you a little bit about that today. We will begin with a simple biography about Arvo Pärt, although it would be naive to suggest that one could condense a history of this composer into 4 bullet points. He was born in Estonia, but lived much of his life in Germany and England. There are a couple of stories that I enjoyed reading, recounting how his family acquired a Russian grand piano in which he could practice, although it was only the extreme registers, the high and the low registers, that functioned properly. Nevertheless, he was encouraged to spend much of his time experimenting and inventing compositions in these extreme registers. Another great story I enjoyed reading about Arvo Pärt as a child was he spent a lot of his younger years in Estonia, in his hometown, riding his bike through the town square when the city was projecting symphony concerts over the town loudspeakers. So just had this wonderful musical upbringing that no doubt would inspire him to continue on with a life of music. Born in 1935, he was a witness to a lot of the ramifications and complexities of both world wars, although that was not to say that there weren't prosperous times. He did live in Estonia at a time where there was often prosperous economic times in his childhood. While Estonia was under the occupation of the USSR, he eventually emigrated with his wife to Berlin, and that became their primary residence for a significant period of their time. There was also a couple of years where Arvo Pärt lived and worked in England as well, and many kind of recount him becoming fascinated with all the church bells in London and throughout England, perhaps being of influence to him as well. So as a result of all of these things, there's few who would consider his music to be just quintessentially Estonian. In addition to spending some time living in England as well, he considers himself to be a musician of the West, but a practicing Orthodox Christian of the East. His music has emerged as one of the more prominent composers in the past 75 years, and he really exhibits deep religious faith in a lot of his music. Many people turn to Arvo Pärt in this day and age as music that slows the mind down. A lot of his music is entranced in chant influences and repetitious influences, and people turn to his music to find simplicity, despite his music having lots of rich complexities in it as well. A very spiritual man, his religion was often suppressed by the state of the USSR. He only recently just returned back to Estonia to live. Arvo Pärt was also the creator of Tintinnabuli, which we will explain a little bit later, just a simple, captivating compositional style, which stemmed from a fascination of chant and bells. Again, a very religious person who basked in the slowness of prayer and attending church, and his music certainly reflects that. A quick Google search will take you to a number of articles about how many people who listen to Arvo Pärt are actually atheists, that there is this kind of connection that his music has with many people who aren't religious, but they feel spirituality in his music when they listen to it. And again, I think a lot of that stems just from the chant influences, the bell influences, but then also Arvo Pärt's music really appreciates and reels in taking time and silence within it as well. A lot of Arvo Pärt's more famous composition or choral pieces and instrumental pieces really bask in silence. And for many, in this very fast-paced world, in this very loud world, putting on noise-canceling headphones and listening to Arvo Pärt is perhaps a spiritual experience for those who don't practice anything spiritual. And so his music has really resonated around all parts of the world, and there is a fascination to his music. We won't be talking so much about Arvo Pärt's spiritual side, but it is important to, I think, note that a lot of people who discuss Arvo Pärt's music often just talk about the mysticism surrounding it. To quote theologian Peter Butenhoff in an article, Peter observed that Pärt is frequently connected with the sacred life. Although the composer's religious affiliation is specifically Orthodox Christian, his music and impact carry an appeal beyond confessional and religious boundaries. He said his popularity crosses over customary distinctions between classical and popular music, sacred and secular art, and liturgical space and concert hall. So it is clear that his music has extended far beyond anyone ever imagined, perhaps even farther than Arvo Pärt ever imagined. And I think people are, hesitant to examine why. Paul Hillier said, "I recognize that the topic of spirituality in music is like quicksand. Pärt's music has an effect on people that may be described cautiously as inspirational. There seems to be a general awareness of a special quality to which touches people in ways they had forgotten to expect from new music. The problem is that, in most cases, contact with the more abstruse areas of spirituality has been cursory. It is unfamiliar territory, and the vocabulary it summons up is untried and remains superficial, decorative at best." So, when we talk about Arvo Pärt, we're just dealing with such special music that I think a lot of people are often acknowledging how special it is. A lot of people who listen to Arvo Pärt listen to a lot of Arvo Pärt choral music, yet a lot of people, I think, are hesitant to explain what makes it special. For many people, when we discuss Arvo Pärt, the first thing that comes to mind is Tintinnabuli. Tintinnabuli is a type of compositional style that arpeggiates a tonic triad in one voice and allows another voice to move diatonically in a stepwise motion. This is probably the most significant contribution that Arvo Pärt has given to modern classical music, modern music. First introduced in 1976 in a piano piece, Fiorellina. This piece really, again, basks in that silence, and it's slow and meditative, and often it just kind of enjoys taking that time in evolving and growing. And so we'll listen to a little bit of this. I want to remind everyone that this isn't the crux of what we're talking about today, but this is the music that people think of normally when they think of Arvo Pärt. So without further ado, here is Fiorellina. It's just lovely. We're going to show you one more piece that perhaps you know, his Magnificat, composed in 1989. Again, just kind of showing everyone what a lot of people think of when they think of Arvo Pärt. And then after that, we'll tell the story as to how we found these awesome children's songs. It's worth noting that composers like Arvo Pärt and Pieteris Vasks and Eric Eschenwalds are one of the reasons why my first international teaching job after grad school was in the Baltic countries. My first job post was at the International School of Riga in Latvia, and being so close to Estonia, I enjoyed every so often taking a bus up to Tallinn and spending the evening listening to concerts and kind of exploring that Baltic choral sound, learning more about the song and dance festivals and all those great things that make Baltic choral music the way it is. And the highlights to one of my trips was I was able to, in fact, go to the Arvo Pärt Center. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. The first thing I noticed when I went to the Arvo Pärt Center is that it is built in the forest. There is not a truck or motorcycle or car that can get you right up to the front entrance. You must park on a parking lot and then walk a good half kilometer or so through the woods to get to the main site. The stunningly contemporary, stunningly new, stunningly beautiful facility seems to have designed itself around nature. It seemed as if the building was designed to remove as few trees as possible in the construction process. And once you enter the facility, it is just chock full of beautifully acoustical spaces, interesting layout designs, wonderful performance spaces, quotes from Arvo Pärt, photos of Arvo Pärt everywhere you went, and then finally it ends with this wonderful observatory deck overlooking the Baltic Sea and Estonia. And like any good museum, there's also a wonderful gift shop, and the story goes, I went in and spent my money because I was so enthralled with this space and I was so enjoying myself, and I bought this children's book, this Songs from Childhood book that was for sale in the gift shop. And like many gift shop purchases at a gift shop, I didn't open it after I purchased it. I put it in my bag and I went back to Latvia and I boxed up all my things because I was moving to the Netherlands. I was moving to work at the American School of The Hague after that. And over a course of, my goodness, 15 months, it slowly exited the boxes and onto my shelves, and then the book kind of slowly exited the shelf and then back to my desk, and then at some point I took it from the desk and I brought it to school, and then I passed it to Mr. Jiménez and I said, hey, I have this childhood song book. I don't know if it's of any interest to us, but I'm wondering if you want to just take a look and peruse through the music and just see if there's anything in here that we might want to teach kids. I went to get a coffee 2 or 3 minutes, and when I came back to the to the choir room. I was just delighted to hear such beautiful melodies and beautiful accompaniment coming from the piano. And Mr. Jiménez was so excited about these songs. And I'll stop talking about that because Mr. Jiménez is going to share a little bit more about that right now. But we were both very excited about the possibility of teaching these songs to our kids.
Something that I really like about Arvo Pärt music are the intros, actually, for these children's songs, because they are very simple but are really descriptive. And yes, in 2 or 4 measures, the students in the choir, they already feel the need to engage with the text, with the story, and with the drama. I really enjoy the little intros in these songs. In the case of frogs, Arvo Pärt uses like little motifs describing the energy of an animal. And the kids in the choir, when they hear this, sometimes they even sing it. And they get ready. They get ready to act and sing almost like a frog. It's so funny. There's another song, Road to School, and in the moment the kids, they hear this scale in E flat major going down, they are ready to march. And literally the kids in the choir, they are marching happy, like really happy to come back to school. And that's very nice, especially after these COVID times that we could not meet at school and then sing.
Okay, hello, we are live. Hello, Mr. Jiménez here. This is our intermediate grade 6 choir. Everyone say hello, Internet. Hello, Internet. And if we could please sing Road to School. I just got to get this correct. Hold on. Processing.
So Arvo Pärt is well known by his minimalistic and mesmerizing harmonies and melodies and this type of composing that opens the sonic space, right? But in this children's book, he uses romantic material. The melodies are very smooth, carefully designed, and the accompaniments are, in the left hand especially, the rhythms are very clear, simple and clear. And yet it helps really well to support the text. And this is something that the kids in the choirs, they feel it immediately. In the book, he uses these 3/4 waltz with the very nostalgic and romantic harmonies.
Shall we sing it in German? So, we hope that you enjoyed just a little sneak peek at one of our choir's experiences with these songs. As you hopefully could see, we found them to be very expressive, just very lively little songs. Even the slower, kind of more legato song with the book had tons of opportunities to come alive. We find that these songs are easy to learn, easy to sing. A lot of them are in 2-part and 3, and there's a couple in 3 parts as well, but you know, what we did here at the American School of the Hague was we taught a lot of our kids just to sing the top parts. And so in a few of our choirs, they're learning the other parts as well. But you can do that, or you can just learn, you know, the simple melody. It depends on what you're learning them for. For us in this choir that you just saw, this is our intermediate choir of grade 6 students. You know, these songs are just being sung right now in the classroom. So we're very content with just kind of sticking with the melody, and then a couple kids are learning the harmonies on the side, and we'll start incorporating that in a little bit later. But they're easy to learn and they're easy to sing, especially if you stick to just the melody. These songs can be prepared for a concert or used as teaching materials in class. We have certainly used them to, you know, just to continue teaching expressive singing and singing out and singing with confidence. Again, so much of what Mr. Jiménez was speaking about, like a lot of the melodies have these ascending passages with, tempo rubato and fermatas at the top, and then they dive right into lush choruses that are again really tangible and really easy to memorize and pick up on. They get kids moving. If you look at the video, just the last video we played, we hope you noticed that our kids were maybe swaying back and forth a little bit while singing. They were, a few of them in two videos before were, jumping up and down and things like that. And so they get kids moving, they get kids dancing a little bit, which we always are a fan of. And so these are just, just a few of the benefits that we have noticed so far. A couple of authentic possibilities we're considering, Mr. Jiménez and I, that we're going to kind of dive into in the future is presenting Arvo Pärt a little bit more of his full work, or his fuller, portfolio of work. So these are his children's songs, and, perhaps we'll show the kids some more of his contemporary tintinnabuli, minimalist adult pieces, and have them just see the differences, because right now our kids only know Arvo Pärt as this children's composer. And so some of the questions we might ask them is, first off, how do these compare? Like, how do his children's songs compare to his tintinnabuli music? And then kind of get a conversation going about, can composers write in more than one style? And then, even taking a step back from that, can people be more than one thing? And for many of us in international schools, we see that our kids try to do all of the things. And so we think it's a great lesson and a great opportunity just to show kind of the power and beauty in that when people are interested or willing or keen or daring enough to do multiple things. Arvo Pärt could most definitely probably have written just children's music for the rest of his life, but eventually, and throughout his studies, moved into adult and more mature and more contemporary, music. And it's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing that people can do multiple things. So those are conversations that, we hope to start a little bit later. This songbook contains other songs about growing up, other songs about singing, the winter months, other songs about Santa, other songs about parents. And so while we only have 3 songs to show for you today, we really do invite you to take a look at this book and consider incorporating it into your elementary or middle school music classes. This songbook is available on Universal Edition, on the Universal Edition website, or through the online store at the Arvo Pärt Center. So you can go through either one of those websites and find it, and I believe they both do international shipping. Furthermore, I would also invite you to take a look at this short URL on the following slides. I have made a folder with recordings of these songs if you'd like to just take a look and listen to some of the recordings as well. Each songbook, when you purchase a songbook, it comes with recordings with children singing the songs in Estonian, but then it also comes with an instrumental accompaniment track as well. So if you are, in a classroom by yourself, it is very easy to turn on the accompaniment and then walk around the room and sing these songs with your classmates. We're so thankful for you to be joining us on this presentation, and we hope you enjoyed our story of how we found these songs and the videos of us singing a few of the songs together in our classes here at the American School of The Hague. It is a short but sweet presentation, but we hope it might get you thinking about how you can incorporate some of Arvo Pärt's wonderful children's songs into your class. Again, we have found that our children really enjoy these. They're great ways to start the day. They're great tools to start class, and we are so looking forward to learning some of the other songs in the book throughout the school year this year. And at the end of the year, we hope to have a whole repertoire of Arvo Pärt children's songs in our class. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email either David Jiménez or myself. Our emails will be attached to the end of this presentation. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful summit and a wonderful AMI experience, and the best of luck to you and your music team this year at your school. Be well. Thank you.